Glenn Beck is joining us. Of course, he's the host of the wildly successful Glenn Beck show that runs at 5 o'clock Eastern Time right here. Glenn, you've been looking into a crystal ball. What the world's going to look like in about 5 years, and how's it look?
Not good, actually. I haven't seen all of the results yet. I'm going to see them tonight at 5 o'clock. What we did is everybody is saying, things could be really bad. I have been talking about what I believe is coming for about 2.5 years now, and I know it's going to get bad.
Okay, so what is it?
I don't know, other than what we are possibly looking at is something far worse than the Depression. The differences between now and the Depression are stunning. We are in much greater debt as individuals. We don't know how to grow our own food. We're not our grandparents. So just economically, we could be in real trouble. But we're also looking at civil unrest all around the world. Just to stabilize the unemployment rate in China, you have to create 25 million jobs every year in China.
Right.
The New York Times reported that there will be 50 million people worldwide unemployed in the next 12 months. Mm-hmm. That's not a real number. According to all the experts I spoke to, that's not a real number.
But when you look right now,
it's much bigger than that.
You look historically, during the Depression, unemployment was 25%, something like that. Right now, we're at
9.
Yeah, no, I'm not talking about. I will tell you that this was today.
6 million, I think.
I was driving in today, and I said my kids are coming with me, and I said this was the day that 2 years ago I said it's probably going to be like this. And I said 7,500 is the Dow, et cetera, et cetera. And this is what I saw coming. It's going to be much worse than this.
So you would agree with Barack Obama then, ironically, because in his speech when he announced his housing plan, let me get to it.
Searching for something I agree with.
Well, yes, and that's why I pulled this one out of a hat. Because he said crisis 24 times. So you would agree with him that it's a crisis.
Oh, I think it is. I think he's using it for political means. I think people need to see the worst case scenario because you need to prepare. This is something that could be, hopefully it won't be, could be really dangerous to people.
See, I watch your show, and you're never sitting with your legs crossed, your arm back. I mean, Glenn, you're saying horrific things. This is unbelievable, but I'm not reading that from you. For example, what do you think is going to happen at the border? We saw some big problems in Mexico. The army fighting with different supporters of drug cartels.
I will tell you, Brian, and I mean this sincerely, 2 weeks ago, I came home, and it was about midnight. My wife and I were talking, and we were talking last night at midnight as well. My hands, look at them. My hands now, for the first time in my life, are shaking. Not because of what is going to happen, but what could happen. I have been feeling this for 2 years, over 2 years. And ringing the bell. We're running out of exit ramps here. And civil unrest could happen. It will happen. Already is happening around the world. We have people from the CIA, FBI that have war-gamed these scenarios. Mm-hmm. What happens to the world when the United States has to say, we've got to pull back here, we've got to pull back here?
Wait a minute. Started preparing, the military has started preparing for a revolution. When? In the last 4 months they started preparing?
No, they've been preparing for a while.
They saw the crystal ball like you did, that this could happen?
Look, I was walking with some of the brightest minds in the military, just, what was it, about 8 months ago. And I said, so what are you guys really worried about? One guy who was with the FBI before the World Trade Center was one of the first people to say this is a global terror network. Mm-hmm. He burst out in tears.
I'm sorry. I just love my country, and I fear for it.
And he said, Glenn, people don't understand. This is 1860. We are on the verge of 1860. The other guy talked to me about how the military is preparing for what they call the Bubba effect. We'll talk about the Bubba effect tonight. That is, something happens down at the border. You got the rancher who's protecting his land.
Right.
People are starting to come over. He protects his land. There's a shot fired. It ignites things. ATF, FBI come in and arrest that rancher. How many people are going to say, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. You people knew this was going on and you did nothing to protect us. And
you know what? I'm just going to get down here because you're scaring me so much. I'm just taking a break. I'm going to be hiding underneath here, Glenn, okay? Tell me when the world's okay to come back out, okay?
I don't know if you saw the Survivor Series, but hiding under glass is not a good move.
Well, how about the couch?
This is exactly why.
You've been watching our Tornado Survivor Series.
By the way, you could still ask questions. This is your notes, Glenn.
That's all.
Oh, okay.
No problem with that.
So now Glenn's going to be talking about this worst-case scenario stuff tonight on his show at 5 o'clock. And you know what? I really hope you're wrong.
Me too.
Nobody who has ever wished that he was wrong more
But they
than
did
me.
take your laces away, and that scares me.
They did.
All right, can't afford it. We'll go get you a snorkel.
Thank you.
Down there?
Go ahead. What's coming up next, Gretchen?
Wait, I'm trying to read. That's not my job. Or how about I don't have time for that? The phrases you should never say at work.
Or I'm on the ground, I've fallen and I can't get up.
My whole family in bed for 2 years.
Go ahead, Gretchen, we're not done yet.
All right, plus is the president's tough talk bringing down the market. Well, former President Bill Clinton sure is pointing a finger. We're going to take that to the pundit pit. You got to get up and do the pundit pit. Okay? They're not going to lay down with
I'll
you.
give you something
Glenn,
to
can
look
you
for.
do it for me?
I'm leaving. You can get out. It'll be safe soon.
Soon we'll do the athletic trivia question. Everything will be okay.